is up, AfterBuzzers and Oncers? We are so excited because we have Zelena's fiance in the building. Kip Pardue and Lana Parrilla did an amazing job directing this episode. We cannot wait to break it down, so don't go away.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Don't we always say how we always have to float into this music because it's so magical? Welcome back, guys, to another recap of Once Upon a Time. We are so excited because we have, drumroll, Kip Pardue in the studio.
Wow, that was really
We want to make you
a lot
feel
more than I
welcome
deserve
here.
and expect.
No.
What's up? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to think about the episode. And
Yes.
it was so much fun to make and so much fun to be a part of. And I'm just kind of getting to know this amazing fan base. And this show has such a dedicated group of people. So it's fun to come out here and talk to them and interact with them and find out what everybody thought about the episode. And like you said, Lana directed it, and it was amazing to be a part of that. And,
Yes. Oh my gosh, I bet.
You know, Rebecca Mader, Zelena, it's a whole...
Yeah.
There's a lot to untangle here.
Oh yeah, and I can't wait to untangle it all together. And guys, we are noticing you guys in the chat, so please, if you have some questions, you might hear your name on the chat and on the podcast tonight. Steph Sabraw, how's it going?
Oh my gosh, you guys, so good. I'm so excited about this episode. I'm Steph Sabraw, and I'm ready to get into it.
I am so ready to get into it. We know Lanisha Fisher is ready to get into it.
This episode made me very happy. There was 2 handsome men up in here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
yes.
Carolina, how are we feeling?
I mean, ask and you shall receive. We just talked last week. We wanted Prince Naveen to come back, and who was back? Prince Naveen. And I also want to talk about this candy cane fight.
Yeah, the candy cane fight was a little crazy.
It was kind of amazing.
Yeah.
I would have just bitten it, but that's me.
But hey guys, Ally Nasta here, and let's talk about, even though we kind of did some overall thoughts, what else are you guys feeling? I'm kind of excited. I'm amped. We know some people are awake here. You know, Prince Naveen is back. We're starting to see people find their true loves and get their happily ever afters, as we saw Zelena get a happily ever after.
Well, we got a lot of answers on Prince Naveen. Not only is he back, he's awake, and that is what the voodoo crazy man is holding over his head, is that he woke him up. So now he owes him. So is he making him double cross his girl?
That's what I was very
I
sad. It
know.
was a bittersweet feeling because, one, I was really happy to see him on screen. I'm not gonna lie.
He's incredibly handsome.
He has to be evil. He has to be. I mean, he's good, but it's sad that he's forced to be evil.
Yeah, I don't like when that happens. It's not fun. But Chad wasn't evil at all.
Chad is not evil. I don't have to do any of that stuff. I mean, there was a chance where he could go.
Right. I was totally expecting...
And, by the way,
What?
I mean, this is Once Upon a Time. You never know.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
That's true. Well, I was expecting him to totally call off the engagement. Were you guys thinking that?
I was, because
would've.
she kept you waiting a while, your character.
Yeah, she kind of took off on me.
She
She
did.
ghosted you.
I don't get it.
No
I
explanation.
mean, I get it now, but at the time, that's a tough one to swallow.
Yeah.
But the only possible excuse is oh, you're a witch in a different dimension, and that then it kind of makes sense, and it's you know what, that's actually kind of appealing. And I totally bonded with Chad on that one. I kind of get it. I mean, if you're gonna lose a girlfriend, it might as well be to another.
Oh my
evil
god,
witch.
I was literally going to ask you that because it's important for my own personal reasons. As I am a
Of
witch,
course.
I've made that clear.
And if you just took off on me for a couple of months and came back and were able to kick
Explain
ass
it.
and tell me that it really was a part of your past that you're not super happy about, then maybe we could work it out.
Oh my god, what a relief. I was worried all
good
weekend
now.
about this.
Yeah. Steph
Just because you're a witch doesn't mean you don't have a chance at true love.
Yeah.
Witches win again.
There's somebody out there for you who's gonna love you for you and
My
your
witch qualities. Absolutely.
Your witch qualities, that's so funny. Yeah, Steph always says
Wait, are
that.
you the witch now?
I'm a
Yes.
full-time
This is the witch.
witch.
Yes.
This is the witch.
This
okay.
is the witch.
Yeah.
She's our
This is
little
the-
witch.
Brutal.
This is the Zelena version. Okay.
Zelena is her spirit animal, so she was really curious as to whether you would accept.
How men would
Yeah.
take that coming to realization.
Oh my god. This is
I mean,
fun.
you're breaking it to me a little bit different than Zelena. I mean, Zelena actually beat somebody up and kind of saved my life, and you're just telling me, so it's a little less appealing,
I need
but
to
it's
prove
still
yourself.
appealing.
Okay.
It's working.
Noted.
Basically, what he's saying is schedule a kidnapping. Kick
Or
some
set up the
butt,
kidnapping yourself.
Tell him, that's what I'm saying, is schedule it. schedule it.
Perfect. Got it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Same
Get
page.
Yeah,
These
you
ideas.
set that up, and then you pretend to save his life, make it look legit, and he's your boo, right, Kip? That's what I just heard.
I mean, there needs to be a little bit of foundational work before we get started. Like, you can't just run in and save me and think that that's enough. You have to still be a really great spinning instructor, and like we have to connect over some things. And I mean, Chad and Kelly had a thing a little bit before he got kidnapped.
Yes. Zelena is awesome. She deserves this.
She definitely deserves
definitely
this.
did.
Especially because we saw in the story this episode, the kind of correlation here is that she did have a chance for someone to love her for who she is as a person. And but unfortunately, she did make some bad decisions that he wasn't okay with and he couldn't forgive her. So it was really kind of nice to see that mirror happen with Chad kind of being able to see her as this good person, but then also kind of know she has been a bad witch, prior.
I'm glad that you brought that up because that makes me want to ask you, Chad, what would you do if you were in... What?
It's fine.
I was
It's
just
fine
always
now.
thinking about his character.
Yeah.
What would you do,
I'll answer
though,
as Chad.
if you were in Zelena's shoes? What if you were the liar, the person that's been killing all these people, had this horrible past and everything?
But I think one of the things that made it so great is that Kelly, Zelena, she really believed what she was saying. I really do think that she wanted to be better. She wanted to be that person. She really wanted to be Kelly. And all of her instincts were pulling her down that witch path. But because of the honesty, it's hard not to forgive her. That's what I think. I
Right.
think if somebody comes to you and honestly can own up to their mistakes and can be honest and forthcoming about them, which maybe she wasn't at the beginning, but if you could find the time to do that, then I think...
he might leave me. He's too good.
Well,
No, there wasn't a chance of that. But
I think that's what's so awesome about Once Upon a Time is because it always brings out this moral of the story kind of thing. And it shows that even if you have had a bad past, there's redemption in everybody.
you can find yourself, and that's one of the hallmarks of the show is that everybody at their core can be really evil or really bad. We might go through periods where they shift and turn, but if you really believe, then you can reset your path, so to speak.
Right, exactly. And we kind of see a little struggle of resetting your past with Hansel. He has this struggle of really wanting to resent his entire well-being on Zelena. And that was such an eye-opener this episode because we saw that it wasn't the witch of Hansel and Gretel that we know that was the one that killed him. It was actually Zelena the one that burned him, which
Yes.
was insane to me.
And now I sympathize with Hansel. I would be with him on the Killing the Witch. Let me tell you why. Think about it.
Steph
Being a
squinting
kid,
her eyes.
not only was he kidnapped by a witch and starved and tortured by a witch, but then another witch comes, leaves him to die, and then he gets burned by that same witch, and then his sister gets killed by a whole cult of witches.
Girl, I just know I'm going to sleep with one eye open when I know you're around.
I'm just saying, no offense, I would never kill you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. Now I have to be worried. But okay, Hansel is like the show confirmed it. He is like not right. His sister confirmed that too. He's way extra. Like his whole diary of him writing his whole Unabomber killing plan is so extra. The way he kidnaps Henry, all that. It's just he's really creepy. He did a really good job with that role.
Yeah, he definitely did. And
yeah, his name is Nathan Parsons, by the way. He's
Yeah.
an amazing actor and a great guy, and really fun to work with, even though he tied me up.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good to know because we haven't gotten a lot of the male perspective from the show. We've had 2 women from Once come.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it's. I heard the whole cast seems awesome.
I know.
It was such a fun thing. Like the same energy that you guys have, the same energy that the fans seem to have. Everybody's so welcoming. It's really a difficult thing as an actor to walk into a show that's been on the air for 7 years. I'm walking into the end of the season, which ended up, we now know, being the end of the show itself, and yet I still was welcomed with open arms and really felt like a part of a family. And I would imagine it's been that way from day one up
Yeah.
there. And it's a hard thing as an actor to come in and know what your role is. But with Lana directing and get to work with Rebecca, and it was like a really fun job.
That's
and
awesome.
it's great. I'm really glad I got to be a part of it and see what happens with it.
How was it, by the way, getting to work with Lana while she was sitting behind the director's chair? What was that like?
I don't know her any other way. So to me, she's just a director, like I've
Right.
never acted with her. And one of the really impossible things that a director has to do is you're suddenly faced with choices every second of everything becomes choices. And because she's been acting so long, and because she's so intelligent and she's so driven and she was so prepared, it was like watching a seasoned director make decisions really quickly. She did things that were really, really hard. The episode is really ambitious from a visual standpoint. It's really ambitious from an acting standpoint, and I felt like I was in the hands of a really great television director. It was really easy for me, and I even look forward to talking to her more when she's not in that chair, which is a much easier time. As actors, we get to breathe a little bit. But when she was directing, we didn't even get to hang out.
Right.
So, but it was lovely. It was such an easy experience.
Right.
And I like, again, with the visual, like the opening shot of the show is like really rad and really cool and kind of fits with the rest of the show over the years, but also I felt like it had a little bit different voice. I thought this episode had a little bit of a different voice than some of the others, and I think that's because only Lana could provide that.
I think that's totally true, especially because that opening scene of the cottage, it was so beautifully shot, and the way that the stairway, it almost looked a little glass-like, and it was just that visual sense that was a little different than what we've seen before. It was so beautiful.
It felt like a real fairy tale all of a sudden, and we'd kind of gotten away from that a little bit. It didn't feel like it didn't have some of it didn't have the magic, and all of a sudden there's this gingerbread house, and I know that was it would be fun to talk to Lana about it here, but like that was a big thing. She really worked hard on that. And again, it's all about choices. As a director, you only have so much time. You only have so many resources. And where she was able to focus and get things, it made the episode so much better because of the choices that she made.
Totally. For an episode like this, how many days was it that you had to be out there shooting?
Every episode, I can't speak for once. I've only been a part of, just the ones that I've been a part of. But other shows that I've been on, it's pretty typical to have an 8-day shooting schedule for an episode, for 1 hour television. So this was eight days, and you got to crank it out. You got a weekend in between there where everybody's off. But 8 days, make it happen. It's a machine. They've been doing it a long time.
Right.
So
that reminds me, because Ivan Soto in the chat right now is asking about the difference between taping for this and Runaways, if it's similar, and do you have that same kind of connection with the cast of Runaways, especially since you've been working with them longer?
Definitely. One of the things that everyone on Once, the regulars on Once, did was welcome people with open arms, and I hope that Runaways does that too, because we're such a close family, and we want everybody to be a part of our family. And in that way, it's very similar. In other ways, it was a little bit different. At least my part of Once was a lot more contained. Runaways is really, really big and outside, and LA is such a character in the show. In Once, it's we're going back and forth to Storybrooke. We're doing all these different kind of things. So a lot of it, and especially what I was in, was interior. So I was in one place, and it didn't have the same feel as Runaways. So with Runaways, I walk on a set almost every day, and I look around and I think, whoa, jeez, the crazy stuff is happening. And I'm sure that happens on Once. It just didn't happen for me.
Right.
But that Runaways just feels. Plus, it's LA. It's my hometown.
Right.
So I feel like Once is obviously in Vancouver, and so it has that feel. It's dark. Runaways is big and bright and happy in LA, and kind of has this like super different energy to it. But hopefully, to answer his question, hopefully the energy's the same, that everybody feels like a family. I know our cast loves each other. Our crew is amazing.
Yeah, well, the show's awesome, you guys.
Thank
If you haven't seen it, you have to watch it.
Yeah, it's on Hulu,
please.
and you can binge it, which is the best thing.
That's
Now you
always
can.
the best.
Yeah, they roll it out slowly, but now
Yeah.
you can watch all 10 episodes.
I know, I
and we're
hate how
coming
they
back
do
for
that.
season 2. It's gonna be on the air soon. I don't know exactly when, but when it comes, maybe we'll come back and talk about it.
Yeah,
If you'll have me.
definitely. Of
Yes.
course. You're
Omar,
welcome
are
back
you kidding?
anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime. But yeah, I mean, it was so fun to see Zelena with Chad and kind of see that vulnerable side of her and actually, get that vulnerability out of her without burning them at the end, because it was kind of a funny thing that she did end up actually burning someone, because every time she's opened up a little, she has closed off at the end of a relationship any which way, even if it was before her and Ronnie kind of like really firmed up their sisterhood, because obviously she's, one step in the door and then 5 steps out sometimes, especially with the whole Robin situation. So this was just a really nice, I think, kind of closed door to knowing that she finally is on the right track, which was really exciting.
Can I ask you guys a question? As big fans, and maybe some of people watching, like, what do you think? You know, now you know the series is coming to an end. Like, what do you all think? And I'm not going to tell you what I know, if I know anything at all. What do you think is going to happen with the show?
With like the
I mean, I know it's an
ending of it all?
open-ended question, and we could probably answer it for 10
I have
hours,
a very definitive answer.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Have you already had this episode? Am I?
No.
Okay.
No. I
There's
just
only
know
five.
her
There's only 5
answer.
left.
I know.
Yeah.
No.
Carolina she has been wanting Lucy to be the Guardian for like months now, and so we've been like, but okay, go for it.
No, but we're talking finale
Is that what you
here.
want, or is that what you think is
No,
going
that's
to
what
happen?
I think. It's what I want. It's
What
also what I think.
Carolina thinks is also in line with what she wants.
Yes.
Got it. It's her way.
Yes, you get me. That's why we love each other. No, so in my humble opinion, what I think is going to happen to wrap up Once is that this curse is obviously going to be broken. And I think that Rumple's going to go off on his merry way. But my biggest desire is for the finale that they've now confirmed with Ginnifer Goodwin and Josh Dallas coming back. I think they're going to go back to Storybrooke, but better than that, they're going to go home to the Enchanted Forest.
Yeah.
That's what I would really like
Okay.
to see. To end the story where it started, where we saw Snow White racing across the bridge, is to wrap it up by sending them home because they're ready. And that's like where they can go back to being fairy tale characters because all the curses have been broken.
So you feel like it's a happily ever after?
And other stories.
Okay.
But back in the Enchanted Forest.
Okay.
Look how he said it made me feel like
Yeah.
it's not gonna. No,
I'll tell you right now, if Adam and Eddie do me like they did me on Lost, they're getting a letter. You guys are you're getting a letter.
I need a happy ending.
It has
I need
to
a real
be.
ending. Do
I
not wake up
watch
for a
your show
dream. Don't be
for
dead.
that.
I'm like, there's nothing worse than watching a movie or a TV show with this open end. Like, this is how I feel personally. Obviously, I'm just speaking off of my own opinion. I hate when they're like, leave it up to your imagination. Like, I want you to tell me what happened.
No.
I want to know that it was a happily ever after. Like, I want that full circle. So my hopes and wishes and wants and desires would be that it would be, like Caroline was saying, a full circle where everybody kind of gets what they want.
But if it's not a full circle, but they have a completion, you'll be happy.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just don't want to have anything open-ended, anything hanging.
Yeah, we're
See, I like that. I like a little bit of
Oh.
mystery. I like a little bit of, I wonder what they're doing
like
now.
Because
I know
you're an actor.
Well,
You
see,
figure out.
I don't
what
like it
my
when people tell me what to
character
think.
wants.
that would make sense, I guess. But it's kind of like the whole How I Met Your Mother thing. I don't know if you guys ever watched the show, but that was the one thing where it was like people were really mad because obviously the whole show was about how he met the mom, and then it was obviously about Robin. But that was the thing. It was like, so are they gonna end up together? Obviously, you think, well, obviously it's outside of her door, but like, I want to know, like, did they end up getting married? Like, did they end
You
up
don't.
having,
Yeah.
like, you know? So I don't know, but that's just like how I feel. But
I'm the same way. I need at least you gotta wrap it up in a pretty bow tie. Like, you can't just leave the present half done. No, you gotta wrap it up nice and pretty.
And if there's a really pretty present with a couple of loose strings on it, is that going to be upsetting?
No, there can't
That's
be no
okay.
loose
See,
strings.
There can't be any loose strings.
No,
I don't
it has to
mind
be
if there's
pretty.
Because that's a lot.
couple-
They got a big ask. I mean, this is a big show. They're really.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
it would be
Big show, so it needs
understanding
to go out big.
if they went back and some auxiliary characters decided to go do their own thing. That's fine.
Right.
Go do
Yeah.
you.
Right. But you got it.
But the main cast, like Henry and his family, Emma, and all of them. First of all, I feel like Lana's not going to get a man, and I can't believe that they've done this to her. Not that she needs one, but it's like, just can she,
Don't say
man,
that.
woman, dog, something. Like, she has nothing.
did
Everybody,
get
it's
Henry.
killing me.
No, I need her to have
my
like
son,
The
that's something.
show is called Once Upon a Time. I need it to end with happily
Yeah.
ever after.
Yes.
That's
That's
true.
it.
And I think what you're saying, like the little tiny loose ends, that's fine. That's like
Sure.
the Parent Trap. You know, you didn't see them get married, but you know they got back together.
Yeah.
And you know they were all happily ever after in California.
So
you
they
know?
say.
So much fun.
in your version.
In the Disney
In Kip's
Yeah, in
version,
my
things
version,
went
it
dark.
didn't end that.
You're like after
No.
day after. You're
Yeah,
like, this isn't gonna
they're
work.
really miserable. They're really unhappy.
I love that. That's so much fun. And it is fun to hear other people's opinions on things because you know I have these like distinct memories in your head of how you believe something ended
But see,
up.
that's what I think makes that's why it's great for everyone to have their own interpretation.
Yeah.
And you kind of leave it open.
That's
I don't
true.
know.
No, it's
Listen, I'm
fun.
not saying anything. I'm not saying what I know, what I don't know.
I just need positive open-ended.
Yes,
Okay.
agreed.
She needs that happily ever after. That's what she needs.
But we were just talking about Barry a second ago. Like, that is an amazing show that's about murder. Like, who are we kidding? It's amazing. It's amazing television.
Yeah, I get weird. I have some dark
Okay,
moments, but
okay.
when I go to this show,
Okay.
It's
So it's
very
specific to this show.
For
yes.
fairies and
Got it.
sparkling dust.
Yeah,
okay?
it doesn't have to be that way. Except I think so most of us tend to
I'm
watch that stuff.
conflicted.
Right. You're a very complicated witch. We've already discussed it.
That much is clear.
Yes.
Speaking of complicated, we have Prince Naveen and Princess Tiana with their whole like shindig of whatever's happening.
Yes.
And it is kind of crazy to know that we know that he was woken up by Dr. Facilier. So he's obviously another game player in it. And then also, if we think about Hansel said, I randomly woke up. I don't know what happened. So that just goes to show that, like, Dr. Facilier probably is puppeteering people. And he's just, like, waking people up whenever he wants them to wake up.
Yeah, that explains why. Because I remember we were all asking the question, like, how do we know, like, why is some parts
Right.
woken, why are some parts not woken? So that filled up that hole for me as far as who is randomly waking up all these people. I thought that voodoo doll, I thought it was Prince Naveen. I would be like, voodoo person. I was just about to be like, ooh, I'm with you, but if you hurt my man, I'm coming for
Lanisha's
you.
gonna be
I'm
angry.
coming for you.
I just still don't understand his point as to now because he's such
Yeah.
a late player in the game. I'm trying to figure out what his end game is. Like, is he
What?
going to turn into the dark one? Is that what he really wants? Who wants that?
I don't
Well,
know.
he wants all the power. I mean, he is the voodoo.
Yeah,
guy.
but that power comes with a terrible curse.
But maybe this is the thing.
And he already has a lot of power.
Not as much. You want more.
No,
He
yeah.
wants it
but-
all.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. And we can get into predictions, which I have a big one about that, which I'm gonna hold because I usually always say my predictions and then I forget. So yeah,
I do that too.
yeah, I like say my predictions and I'm like I don't have any because I said them all.
Wait,
at the
I really
beginning.
want to point this out, but you're like, I'm going to hold my prediction down. And then she writes with the pen, super important looking. There is chicken scratch
No, I
to
know
my
what
right.
I wrote.
This is not legible
It's
English.
Dr.
Calling her
Facil.
out.
Dr. Facil, and I'm gonna remember.
This looks like you
You know what,
had.
Carolina? I can't with you.
You're a doctor, Allie. I'm ready for you to write me my
This is what I do with my
prescription.
notes. I have to I don't have if I don't have a laptop, I just write things down that jog my memory. You don't do that?
You did,
I
Kip,
do
do you do
that.
that? Not with script
right.
that looks like
Hansel.
that.
Well,
Staying out of it.
Moving on to other news. Do we think what? Y'all are getting after me
I
today.
said so does Hansel.
I love you, Allie. Just know that. I
We
do.
already confirmed that you're a Disney princess, but
Yes.
next step into this one scene.
You guys are killing me right now. I'm sorry. I write terribly, and I don't know how to spell Dr. Facilier.
No, you write like a doctor.
That's not my actual handwriting. Okay, well, let's move on. Jack and Hansel, do we think he's actually dead? Or do you think that Dr. Facilier just kind of like put a little curse on him?
He's dead.
Do you
I think
he's
he
dead?
did.
You think he's done?
Mm-hmm. Like, I think he pierced his heart.
He
Like,
said you were a wild card and I'm taking you out of the deck.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I mean,
true.
Hansel's
He
story
dead, he
has to
gone.
end. We have to get back to the central characters, and we only
Well,
have,
that's
what, 5
depressing.
episodes left? He has to go.
But I did want to see, like,
Very
I
cavalier.
was. Right.
I'm very cutthroat.
Hey, gotta be on this show.
Yeah.
Were you surprised at all that, did you know in this script reading it that he was going to die and that his whole backstory, did this surprise you that he was the witch killer?
I didn't know much until I got there.
Okay.
They're very secretive as well. I mean, I work Runaways. I work on a show that's very secretive,
Oh, yeah,
and
'cause-
I can't,
yeah,
Marvel
of
away.
course,
I can't talk about
Marvel.
anything. And once does, they're not maybe as secretive as Marvel, but they keep their things pretty, pretty close to their chest. So I learned a lot when I got there, and I've learned a lot since. But no, I didn't know. I think just like with you guys, everything in this show can be reversed. Everyone can come back. Maybe they're dead. Maybe they're not dead. Maybe they're just in
Oh,
Storybrooke.
no
maybe
one
they're-
dies. We have established this.
Oh, like
Yes,
no
and that's a
one-
very common
No
thing
one.
to hear on set. Actually, no one dies on the show, and you never know what's going to happen or where it's going to go. So, yeah, I'm just kind of I was along for the ride at the beginning of this run for me. So, and then again, I think I'm okay saying this. When I got up there, the show hadn't. They didn't know that this was going to be the last season, so there was still like I won't talk about, but could talk about what was going to happen and what were things, because I think everyone kind of wanted there to be a season 8, and everyone was hoping that there would be a season 8, and it ended up not working out that way. And I think that's hopefully for the best. I don't know, but yeah. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot up there, but a lot of what I learned isn't happening.
No, that's
anymore.
interesting, because
So-
we were curious about when you had taken the role, if you had known if it was going to just be season 7 or, but you just
I
confirmed
didn't.
that.
I didn't know, but I would have done it anyway
Yeah.
because I like the show. I didn't know anyone on it, but I've known about Lana and Rebecca for years. Like as actors, this town is small enough, and I knew that it was a great place to work. And obviously, the show's been on the air for forever, and it's got one of the most. I keep saying it, but it's blowing my mind how amazing this fan base is, and how strong, and how much people love this show. And now just getting a part of it, I don't blame them. I totally get it, and it was a fun thing to do. I would have carried coffee, so I was happy to be up there and do if it's big, and if it's not big, if it doesn't matter.
Right. Well, every time we get someone from the show on, like, to chat with them about it, and it's so refreshing and nice to hear that it's such a great place to work and it's so much fun on set, because obviously we love this show, and there's nothing worse than hearing about a show that you love and hearing that it's not that fun on set. But that even just confirms how amazing this cast, the crew, everybody involved in the show is, to make it not only magical on camera, but also it's kind of magical on set too, with everybody just like, there's a huge sisterhood, everybody's giggling, laughing, having fun, and that just makes it so much more better for the audience.
Absolutely. It's impossible to take yourself too seriously when somebody's going to be like, Rebecca's going to be green, or like ridiculous costumes. Like getting fitted for the costumes is in this incredible process up there, because you never know if you're going to end up in a costume, like a costume, not
elaborate.
like in this episode, Chad's wearing jeans and like he's dressed like me, but in down the road he might end up being something else. So you never know what's happening, and it's impossible to know. I mean, it's impossible to take yourself too seriously when like somebody I'm just Chad, I'm just hanging out, and then all of a sudden like a wolf walks by or something like you're like he's going to the craft service to get a coffee, but he's in full or the pirate episode was the one before, like that was still like lingering about while I was up there. So there's a ton of that stuff, and it's like, wait, this is wild. We get to basically go to Disneyland for
That's
that's
so
pretty
true.
cool. Yeah,
That is so much fun.
it's fun. It's a fun. I have a really ridiculously great job.
I love that.
We want to get more into just you and questions about the show and everything. Just one last thing before we go. There was a fan that tweeted me who's awake and who's not awake, and I would like to just share that really quick, because that was really interesting to me. Well, she just has been making a running list.
Oh, okay.
And so it was smart. And the people so we've got Ronnie, Kelly, Ivy, Rumple, Nick, Drew, Dr. Facilier, and Lucy are all awake. Not awake is Tiana, Henry, Ella, Hook, and Robin. So that makes me
Henry.
But
I
Henry
know.
is like extra asleep.
Oh yeah, he was annoying
Extra.
because he's supposed to be the truest believer.
He's
so
in a coma, literally.
Yeah,
And I like
loved
that
how-
Hansel called him out on it.
Just about
He's
to
like,
say
"Dude,
that. Yeah.
for the heart of the truest believer, you really are stubborn." He's like, "It's your kid's blood test," and he's like, "No, this is fabricated."
Don't believe it. You're crazy. Nope. Even if you have proof, nope. I'm not believing
It
it.
was an interesting choice, definitely from the writing standpoint. It was fun to watch.
so fun. But you know what's also fun is the fact that, guys, if you're a fan of Remember the Titans, can we just make it a known fact that obviously Kip Pardue was who played Sunshine?
Honestly.
Which, by the way, do people ever say that to you?
Ever, all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
been
And
holding my
I was saying to you guys earlier, if I work for another 25 years in this business, and I make movies or TV or whatever, I will never top the iconic status of that movie, of that character. It just connected with people in a way that to this day blows my mind, and I'm so thankful for it. It's a big part of the reason why I'm able to sit here. It's a big part of the reason why all this stuff keeps happening, and I, some people, you guys were really nice and asked at the beginning of this interview if it was going to bother me. And like, no, it's one of the great. I'm so proud of that movie, and so lucky to have been a part of it. And you know, you look back on it, whatever, it's been 20 years now, and you think, oh man, I didn't even know. I knew nothing, and I wish I knew now what I wish I knew then what I know now. I wish I could go back and make that movie again. But it was so, it's still one of the greatest experiences. I mean, again, not only could I work for another 25 years and not have this iconic status, but I could never have as much fun or do anything. I mean, working with that level of people and it doesn't happen very often. You know, it really doesn't happen very often. And I'm glad I got to do it once, and I'm glad people still connect with that movie to this day.
Looking back on it, what's
It's
your
a good
favorite
movie.
memory from shooting that film?
I think one of the great moments was one of the very first days of shooting the football stuff. There was about a week where we'd been working and making some of the talkie talk, story. And then the football stuff started. And for me, I'd always been a football player. I played football in high school. I played football in college. Now I was getting paid to play football. And suddenly they were scrambling around. It was we were moments away from shooting, and these things get very hectic, and they still hadn't found a proper stunt double for me because I'm a little bit tall. I had this hair in the movie.
We know.
And
Beautiful, luscious hair.
I'm left-handed. So to find a double for me was a little bit complicated. And I'm standing there in my football gear, and I'm looking at the director, and I have this stunt to do. It was the stunt, if you guys remember the movie, where I flip the guy over the back of me. I tell the team to let him through. I said, just let the guy through. I'll take him out. And that was the very first thing that we shot from a football standpoint. And they were waiting for my stunt double. We need Kip's stunt double. He's not up here yet. We don't know where he is. What's going on? And I just said, guys, I can do it. Just let me do it. Yeah. Just let me do it one time. And if we did it in the first take, bam, got it. Did exactly what we needed to do. It actually was a great moment because I got to do it. It was a tough moment because it set the tone that I didn't have a stunt double for the rest of the movie. So I had to do all my own football stuff. Which was really fun. To me, I didn't care. I'm just a 23-year-old kid playing football all the time. But the whole movie was fun, but that was really fun to kind of.
I did not know you did. I would have never guessed that you did your own stunts on that.
Everything on that movie.
Amazing.
And there were a lot of amazing football players, and there's a lot of amazing stunt performers in that movie. I don't want to take anything away from them. But for that one, I got to do it all and would come in on second unit, and
I love that.
It was fun.
You guys, if you haven't seen it, he didn't do it justice. This is one of other than Carolina, this is on the top 10 for most people.
Yeah.
And I know
we need to sort out Carolina. I mean, what's up?
I don't know.
Okay,
She's gonna watch
I've never
it.
seen
We're
the
so
film.
confused because Remember the Titans is one of those movies that I almost remember the memory, the feeling, the emotion I have of the first time I watched that movie, and ever since, I feel like I've probably watched it close to maybe over 50 times.
Oh, yeah.
From the watching it on ABC Family or any type of channel, that was a movie that I would click play. It is iconic.
And people tell me it's one of those movies that if they see it on the guide, they're going to have to watch it. Like Shawshank Redemption, I can't not watch that movie.
Yes.
And remember, you're putting my movie in the same.
No,
that's
it is.
awesome. What an awesome.
It is.
Thank you. Thanks to
for
everybody who
real
keeps
is.
watching that movie.
Yeah.
And your
Values that it
character
has
is
in
just
there.
so important in that movie for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
That was another great memory. I remember before we started shooting, all the kids, which is now Ryan Gosling, who was just a kid at the time, and Ryan Hurst and Wood Harrison, all these amazing. They were amazing actors then. Donald Faison, they were amazing actors then, but now they've grown up to have these amazing careers. It's an amazing cast. And I remember Jerry Bruckheimer having dinner with him at this thing, and him just looking at me and going, "What a great character." And none of it made any sense to me back then. Like I said, I wish I knew then what I know now. And maybe if I'd known all this stuff, I would have gotten nervous and I wouldn't have been as good, or it wouldn't have connected in the way that it did. So just my naivete. I mean, it was my fourth job ever. I didn't have any.
That's really amazing.
Yeah, it was just a wild thing. And I did a pilot for a TV show, and I ended up getting recast, which happens now. I've been an actor for 20 years. It happens all the time. It's the worst thing that ever happened to me. That was my third paying job. And then I lost it. I got fired and ended up 3 months later in Remember the Titans. I would have been unavailable had I not gotten fired from the other thing. And
it was the best thing.
It was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I mean, it was this amazing, lucky thing. And I was still so naive and so stupid and so green as an actor. But I think that helped. I think that really helped. I could just lose myself in in playing football. And one of the things that I do now as an actor to this day, it's taken me like 20 years to figure out how to do it. It's like how to use physicality in my acting in a way that even when I'm not doing necessarily a physical scene, I channel a lot of my energy and a lot of my creativity through being physical. And I think the football was a way that I could kind of be a better actor because I wasn't thinking about playing football. I just knew how to play football.
Right.
And now I have to teach myself, like now it's different as I do things on Runaways or like Chad, falling out of a chair, and it's physical, but it's not playing football.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know. I've learned so much from that movie. Even 20 years on, I still think about it. And
Well, it's great. It's an inspiring story, and everybody that hasn't seen Remember the Titans, which is kind of mind-blowing to think that some people haven't, you definitely should check it out. But also something else that you should check out. Everybody's looking at Carolina like mind-blowing. They haven't seen it. Another amazing thing you need to check out that's so much fun, helps you learn and grow in all areas of your life, is Conversations with Maria Menounos podcast edition, and it's hosted by our AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversations with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of your life, from health and wellness to career, relationships, finances, and so much more. Let our Maria be the big sister that you've always wanted. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos, and guys, it's free. Again, it's free. So go download it on iTunes podcast and be sure to rate and comment and let Maria know that the Oncers and Kip Pardue brought you there. Again, that's Conversations with Maria Menounos podcast edition. It's so inspiring. Go check it out. And like we mentioned last week, you might see a familiar face, or not face because it's a podcast. You might see a familiar name that played Emma Swan. Ginnifer Morrison was on one of her previous podcasts from a couple weeks ago. Go check it out.
And Ally is leaving herself out of this game again. Because Ally was also on the podcast and did a stellar job. So make sure you check it out and you say that we sent you and you give Ally all the love she deserves.
Well, thanks, guys. I was a guest host. It was so much fun. Obviously, Maria is so amazing. She's so inspiring to everybody out there. And it's just something fun to listen to when you're in traffic or shopping or whichever you may be doing. It's like you got your friend right there. But it's amazing, so please go check it out. But really quick, because we're kind of running out of time, I want to ask Kip a couple more questions. We had some things that were related to kind of Chad's specific character. But Lanisha, you had a question about how usually
in the scene.
Yes.
In the scene. Oh yeah. Okay, so we kind of talked about it earlier in the beginning, how Zelena rescued your character. So I just had a common question. Normally it's like the men that's saving the women. What do you think about like a woman saving a man?
I thought it was great. It was funny to be on set and kind of like, man, how did I end up in this chair? Like Nathan and I would have that conversation. He's like, well, I guess I just surprised you. It was a very funny thing to end up there. But when you talk to Rebecca, especially, you get it. Like she's gonna save a lot of people. Like she has that personality and it makes perfect sense. And not only does it make perfect sense, but the way that it was written about it being kind of sexy, totally easy, makes perfect sense. Rebecca Mader will save a lot lot I have no doubt. And Zelena too. It's the same. It's the same kind of character. Yeah.
Rebecca Mader will save
like,
a lot
it doesn't
of
male female doesn't enter into it with that. Like that was a whole energy of like, I'm in good hands.
Oh, that's amazing. And we almost forgot, guys. We need to give a huge shout out to Zelena, aka Rebecca Mader's birthday just passed. So happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Yes,
I'm repping the green
to one of our witches.
And on that note, I don't know if we can ask you this, but is this the end of Zelena? I was kind of worried about that. Are we going to be seeing you more throughout the season with her? I would love to see that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to keep watching.
I don't think you can.
I'm not gonna talk about it.
I didn't know if that was confirmed or not.
Yeah.
Public.
I feel like a lot of it is kind of on the rocks because we don't know how things are going to get wrapped up, and if one little detail, maybe that's probably why they're keeping everything so locked up.
I just couldn't tell if it was her farewell
I
episode.
kind of thought the same thing. I was thinking, kind of like the way we saw Ivy and Anna go off back into the realm. I was thinking that maybe it was kind of the same thing.
No, because Zelena has become part of the core cast.
Yeah, but she was saying how she's moving back to San Francisco.
That's the only reason I
y'all about
asked.
to make me do my prediction.
And they also were realizing that if Zelena goes back into the fairy tale land, then she doesn't get her happy ending. Like Chad's in the real world. Unless Chad would possibly go into the forest.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
Look, he's like, you have to see.
No, you're like as you guys have all watched. We've all watched enough television to know
Right.
like how it works. Like obviously, some chump who's coming in at the end of season 7 is
Right.
not going to be the main priority as
Right.
far as the core cast is concerned. So there's a lot of loose ends to tie up.
Totally.
I'm not going to tell you which ends have been tied up already and which ends need to be tied up, but let's just
We'll see.
yeah,
we'll have
you
to
put
wait
it that
and
way.
see.
Like the priorities might have shifted. There's a lot of this is a big show, and a lot of
Totally.
things need to get answered that would leave really hardcore oncers really upset if they were like, okay, cool, Chad. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Well, we love Chad.
I'm not answering your question.
No,
but
it's okay.
Yeah.
No, I regress from that question.
No, it's a
I
great
do want to
question.
know though, since we can't find out anything more about that, are you working on other stuff? Were you working on other stuff at the same time as filming this, and what's moving forward for you?
Runaways season 2 is coming up.
Yeah.
I don't have a release date for you, but that's happening and going to be really
Yeah,
exciting
that's
and
good
really
enough.
fun.
Good
And everybody who, if you watched season 1 and loved it, you're going to love what's happening. And if you haven't watched it, please go binge it and catch up because season 2 is going to be a lot of fun. And it's a really the passionate like that's one thing that I hope there can be some crossover. Like this fan base, the Once fan base, is so strong and passionate, and I think that that Runaways has some of the same things that people have grabbed onto from Once. It's a little fantastical. There's a lot of really great women to respond to. There's more women than men. It's a very female-driven show, and there kind of has a fairy tale superhero aspect to it. But it's still rooted in the real world. So there's a lot of things about it that are similar, and I hope that some of the people who are watching now will come over and find Runaways and really, really cling on to it, and it can be their new show. Like once ends, like,
Totally.
we're just getting going over
And
Runaways. So
Honestly, guys, if you haven't seen it, it's so much fun. And Kip plays Frank Dean. And there's a lot of fun, tight-knit relationships in there, friendships that are really, everybody's kind of there to help each other, kind of the way Once has it with their friendships and the way that they obviously, kind of the heroes versus villain kind of thing.
yeah, there's alliances that grow
Yeah,
and then they
and
shift and change just in the same way
totally.
this show works.
Yeah,
Family
so
affair.
definitely go check it out on Hulu. It is so amazing. But just to kind of wrap things up slowly, let's ask you one last question, and it kind of has to be, it's in the vein of the Runaways. I keep saying but it's just Runaways, guys.
I see the same thing.
Yeah, we want to know if you could have any superpower, what would it be? What would Kip Pardue
What
love
would
to
I
have?
love to have? Good question. I mean, there's being able to fly is a good one, right? But then you can't take anybody with you. So if I'm gonna fly, I need to be able to get other
be
people to fly with me. Yeah, we need to be able to fly
Together.
because
Yeah.
that's kind of boring otherwise.
Have you guys ever had dreams? Have you ever had a dream where you're flying?
Of course.
Isn't that the most amazing
It's
feeling when you
amazing.
wake up?
Yeah. And I think that's part of it is getting to where you're going. That's an amazing part of being able to fly, but part of it is just the flying itself.
Totally.
But somebody said one time, somebody gave I believe it was Annie Wershing, who plays my wife on The Runaways, who's another amazing redhead, a la Rebecca Mader, and it's really funny that I have two redheaded wives on television. But Annie gave this answer to that question one time that was I'm still in awe of. She was like, I'd love to be able to heal people. And I was like, oh God, I'm such a jerk. I just wanted to fly. And you wanted to save the world, really be great.
On that
is
note,
so
I
true.
know.
someone in the chat, Joseline Oviedo, sorry if I butcher your name, just said you're her favorite bad guy.
Oh, thank you. But hopefully she'll keep watching because, maybe I'm bad, maybe I'm not,
See, Kip, and I was gonna make you feel better about yourself. You wanted to fly, and I'm like, read minds.
Yeah, totally. Or be invisible and listen to what everybody else is saying.
would
That'd be a
not-
cool
I
one
want
too,
the
right?
power to read minds and also change what people.
That's
are
what I was gonna say. Do you
thinking.
want to influence people too? Because
Yes.
that's some evil. That's evil.
I feel like I would
But
get
it's
a
cool.
headache.
I get it.
See, I
But
would
can you turn it off? Or is it
Yeah.
constant?
No, you can turn it off.
Okay.
You wouldn't influence. I personally
call.
wouldn't influence
Because
people
what
to
if
do
I'm hearing? I
terrible
don't want to
things.
hear what you're thinking.
I don't always
all the
think
time.
hear what
You
you're
can
thinking.
shut it out. It's like hearing.
I wouldn't want that.
Sometimes you don't want to hear people, so
But
you
I
stop
can't
listening.
not hear that car alarm when it's going off. I can
Yeah.
maybe it gets fuzzier,
Yeah.
but it's still there.
Yeah, that's I
Well,
would.
according to superhero power book, rule guide book, whatever that's out there, you can shut it out.
Okay, good.
That's a
then it's a
thing.
good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to know what everybody's thinking, 'cause then it just kind of, I feel like, would make you bitter about everybody. Because you knew
It
every
would.
thought
Oh, yeah,
about
people
them.
are bad.
I'd rather like pretend that they're not thinking. Like, what if you just sit there and they're being mean to you through their mind? I don't want to know
And they're
that.
just smiling
Yeah,
at you.
like,
I just
oh
want
my
to throw this coffee.
Carolina would love that. She'd be like,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. You know me. I'd be like, keep spilling the
was
tea.
perfect.
Like, I'm coming for you. Yeah, no. So there you go. Flying is a very noble superpower.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as noble as other answers I've heard, but I am not as noble as other people I know.
Flying is great. That'd be really fun.
a good one.
And you can get
Yeah. It's
a
places
good one.
fast, so
Yeah.
there's nothing
I
wrong
flew
with that.
in my dream, but I was on a carpet. I was
Oh,
on a
yeah.
magic
Ooh.
carpet.
I used to
That's
have
fun.
a dream
Yeah.
like that too, where I was on the carpet.
See?
Flying.
Yeah, like-
I was never flying on my own. I was always on a
What
carpet.
if you have a flying magic carpet? Then you don't need that superpower. So then you have two superpowers. You can fly and read people's minds or
and
go
you have
invisible.
a partner because the carpet.
Well, maybe. But can the carpet support the weight of two people, or three, or four?
I mean,
I'm
it
saying
did
the
for
carpet's
Aladdin.
a friend. In Aladdin,
no.
the carpet was a friend.
Yeah, so the carpet not only flies, it talks.
Well, you
mean-
sign language.
Yeah. Okay. You could communicate. It's communicative carpet.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think we're
Haven't you
getting.
seen Aladdin?
I think
where
we're
the
solving a lot of
carpet
problems
like
right
it's
now.
So
carpet with
devolved.
this little
you
ant.
guys need to think of your superpowers more in depth.
Well, guys, unfortunately, we have basically run out of time. If we want to maybe do like a flash round of predictions really, really quick, everybody just give one.
AfterBuzz TV
Oh, shoot.
predictions.
She has so
I'll go-
many.
I don't know.
I'll go really quick.
Yeah.
My prediction earlier, because I know you guys were on the edge of your seats waiting. You know, worries. Even though Carolina likes to make fun of this. Anyways, Dr. Facilier, I think, is maybe doing this, and maybe it's actually good, and it's all for Regina.
Oh.
But I don't know. That's kind of I'm just thinking the good out of him.
That's nice of you.
And he obviously got rid of the one person that would take Regina out because he's trying to get rid of
Because
all
he's a
the bad
wild
people.
card. I like that.
I don't think Hansel was trying to get rid of Regina.
He was trying to get rid of all witches. He was trying to make right. We are running. What? No, keep going. What do you want to say? What's your prediction?
My prediction is that Lucy is the guardian and that we are going to see Hook finally wake up, because I think he's going to wake up before Henry and he's going to be like, how the heck did this happen? Why is this idiot
True.
still sleeping?
Well,
Love it.
my prediction is I do think that Zelena and Chad are going to come back. I don't know how, but they're going to come back because I need that ultimate witch battle between good witches and bad witches.
They'll be. They'll
wait.
be like at the bar at the end of the movie, or at the end of the show. They'll all be like in the bar at the party together, like cheersing drinks. So they'll probably be there.
Yes.
I have one quick thing because we missed my character corner, but I was going to bring up the Wicked Witch as the character of the week. And I was going to bring up in Wicked how there's Fiyero, who is Alphaba's love interest. And I was saying, nobody that they ever meet is really just a normal human being. And I think that you are Prince Fiyero from another realm. And whether or not we will see that story, it is now an imagination-grained land.
Thank
I
you so much
love
for that. I
That's
needed that.
amazing, and that's why the Once fans are the best fans out there, because they have amazing imaginative.
That was a
Storyline.
lovely way to wrap things up,
It was.
Carolina. I so
I do like
appreciate it.
that.
And Kip, we appreciate you for coming in.
I appreciate you guys having me very much.
Seriously, thank you so much. Where can
Thank
they
you.
find you on social media?
I'm at Kip Pardue on Twitter and Instagram. KIPPARDUE. Really
Yes.
simple.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And Steph Sabraw, what
And
about
I'm
you?
just like you, at Steph Sabraw on Twitter and Instagram.
Lanisha,
Instagram and Twitter at Lanisha, spelled Lanisha 914.
Carolina.
Hey guys, I'm Carolina Bonetti on Twitter and LenaBean113 on Instagram.
Hey guys, Ally Nasta here. Find me on Twitter at Ally Nasta and on Instagram at LA Girl. And we will see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the host only, not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.